I thought I saw there was open space towards the business neighborhood around Christensen, but I've done so much research that I'm not sure exactly what it is. And also, like I said, the character of my neighborhood, the school buses, there are kids in the area that play in the afternoon. I understand only, like he's saying, one house, but we don't know what's going to happen. Is it possible that he might use this shortcut? I mean, that could change. And finally, well, actually, there's two more things. We are not considering a mixed use like the Walmart area. So it's not a neighborhood, it's not little stores. We don't know what's going to be there, and we have to contend with Burrillville. And most importantly, this is the most important, if you go down Plainfield Pike at Walmart, that started out as business restaurant. I'm talking about in Johnston. Well, as you go down towards Cranston, a couple of years ago, I went to a little restaurant that was just a breakfast place. Now, because it's changed completely, business commercial, business whatever, you go down, you've got car lots, you've got a junkyard, you've got a farm right next to a junkyard, you've got a flea market, and all going into, you almost get to 116, it looks like it's the Port of Providence. It's just so many different mixed uses. And I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want my neighborhood to look like that. I don't have a problem with certain things going in, but without any kind of guarantees, and we all know what guarantees are, then I'm totally against this. Thank you.
So you did a good job, public speaking. Anybody else want to come up? Yeah, in the back, come on up.
My name is Walter Maynard, and I'm the butter of the property in question. I live on Georgiana Avenue. I have several items here. I don't know if I have the copies to everybody, but I have a petition of 58 signatures asking that the property not be changed to business highway. These are residents who received the letter from the town, and even though the discussion went through that part of it was going to be maintained as residential, this is specifically saying we do not want the property changed to business highway. I'll give a copy of that to the council. The other thing is, as far as the proposed zone changes and the comprehensive plan, there's nothing on there that indicates anything of being changed to business highway. On the future land use and comprehensive plan, there is nothing that mentions about the possibility of changing that to business highway. There is talk about capacity of business highway property in the town. And that this would help alleviate some of those problems. Well, there actually happens to be 16 acres across from Dunkin' Donuts next to Rite Aid that is currently zoned as business highway that's not being utilized. We do not want a domino effect to happen in that area of Gators and hometown. We want it to maintain as it is now. The residents in the area move there, live there because it is residential, do not want it changed. One other issue that's come up is zoning complaints, where the residential property has been used as an expansion of the commercial properties that are next to it, and that has not been addressed properly by the town. I submitted a zoning complaint to Anderson in July of 15, and I had to talk with him or email him a couple of times to find out what was going on with the issue. Some of the other things that are concerned are we don't have any idea what the property will be used for. It's nothing. What kind of egress and ingress will it have in this business highway? Where is that going to be? Lighting or noise pollution, that could be possible. We have no idea. There's no adequate documentation of proposed change to the highest and best use of the land. No adequate documentation on water drainage and sewer usage in the area of the business highway. No adequate documentation of proper egress and ingress, as I mentioned, and no adequate documentation to address fire and safety in the business highway section. As far as the hourglass section here of the residential property, that is going to set a precedent in the town. Once that is done, there is nothing like that in the surrounding area or anywhere in the town that I know of. Leaving that the way it is will set a precedent and will allow that to happen and occur possibly in the future. So I hope the town will consider leaving the property as residential. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to be heard on this?
Chris Connie.
If you could just speak in the mic so they can.
Chris Connie, 34 Georgiana Avenue. Some of these things that you heard, for example, Mr. Pimentel was talking about there's adequate buffer already in the area. That's not true. If you come to my house, you see how the lighting and noise disturbs me a lot. It is unbelievable how it is right now. It is such that empowering me. I can go to the bathroom anytime at night, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't have to put on the light because I already can see because of the way it is, especially at this time of the year when vegetation is a poor vegetation. That's not going to help. Another thing also is that in summertime, noises, especially banging noises, grinding and sanding noises are are the loudest in summertime. Well, first of all, pertaining to the way that a map is drawn, my question is, what is the purpose for this map? First of all, the house should be face on 102. And also, the lot should be squared off like the lots across the road to 102. This weird configuration as presented is bizarre, and President Pimentel also said it's bizarre, so I'm glad that you understand that. Nowhere in this town where you find a lot that looks like an hourglass, or it looks like a shape of an hourglass. Look at the map. It's beyond belief. Right now, we are aware of the traffic conditions with Redfield Highway. And the question is, can we afford more? I'm also concerned about the domino effect that this zone change will cause. The danger is that it might jump to the other side of the highway to create a commercial strip. I feel this will create a ghost. I feel this will create a ghost mini-mall, which will create vandalism that will also spill over to the neighborhood. The Slatersville Mall, or the Slatersville Plaza, is nearby, and it is not always in use. Most of us might have purchased our homes with the understanding that this area is residential. And actually, when you look at it, that's the last residential that partitions the business highway from the residence area. So why would it be changed? There's no more, you will not give us any petition. Granting this request will negatively impact our property values also. I strongly oppose to the granting of this zone. I strongly oppose to the granting of this zone change. Sorry for the way I talk. This is how I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sir, come on up.
My name is Dick Annams. I live at 120 Carlton Avenue. Well, the business highway's been beat to death. So I'm going to speak mostly about egress onto Carlton Avenue. You're proposing, or it's requested, that you put in on a paper street, a driveway, or extend the road. I own the land that abuts this so-called Navy Road, okay? So you're gonna deny me access by giving this guy, let's say, a driveway. And then if you put in a road, there's no turnaround, where's the snow gonna go? Believe me, I've lived there for 46 years. I know where the snow's gonna go. And that snow, once it freezes, that pile's gonna be 15 feet high. Once it freezes, you're not going to move it. Impossible. As far as the water goes, presently the water's being directed onto my property. It's been that way for a long time, I think. But if it was directed on the other side of the street, Mr. Perry and Mrs. Perry have a septic system. Boy, that'll do some harm to them. If you let the access on Carlton Avenue B, you're looking at 21 feet. Nowhere in town has access been given or a building permit been given for 21 feet. Thus, in my own way of thinking, my own mind, that's why you have this hourglass thing that goes to 102. Now, in talking with the building inspector at different times, he has said, there's no permit issue unless it goes to 102. Access is to 102. Matter of fact, Councilman McGee has even told me, no, access to 102. He told me that personally. But here we are today looking at a lousy 21 feet. Okay, and you're going to turn the town upside down. This is so against every and any ordinance ever with regards to this. You're opening Pandora's box. That's the way I feel about it. Now, if there's any other questions you'd like to ask me with regards to access or using Carlton Avenue, I'll tell you, there's a lot of kids there now. We don't need more traffic on it anyway. It's undeveloped. What ticks me off even more, what you say and what you do are two different things, okay? I wasn't home when the land was cleared, where they said this house is going to go. I wasn't home. When I did get home, I noticed they were clearing land. I went down there. The trees were cut on my property for 30, 40 feet. Cut a few trees, clear some brush. I wasn't home. When I told the guys, they stopped. Nice winter fellas. If that's not enough for you to consider, and I complained to the town administrator about it, trees were being cut on town property. After that, the stumps were pulled on town property. Now it's been graded on town property. There's no permit for this baloney, okay? There really isn't. I'm a firm believer in you do things the right way. You want to get my respect, you do things the right way, not your way. And that's pretty much what I have to say about the whole thing. If you'd like to ask me any questions, please do so.
Mr. Inez, you said there's children on the street. Does the school bus come down Carlton?
It does not, it could not.
Could not come down Carlton?
No, there's too much of a break.
Yes. Yeah.
They pick up the children at the end of, well, the accident, Suncrest and
Suncrest,
Howell.
okay.
Yeah. Or do they pick up the kids, let me tell you. A lot of kids. Even across the street from me, they've got 1, 2, 3 children on there now. Next door to me, they've got 3 children now, you know? And the kids, and there's other kids in the neighborhood that play on Carlton because it's not traveled too much.
So I have a question. Currently, when they plow the snow, they pile it up at the end, at the dead end, correct?
Yes, sir.
I live on a dead end too, but sometimes it's around probably until mid-April sometimes, right?
Oh, yes.
So, what would be the problem? I'm just playing the devil's advocate now. What would be the problem if they just push the snow? What is it, 114 feet?
Well,
No, 21 feet.
No, the length of this.
it's proposed
128 feet. So what would be the difference? If instead of piling the snow there, they piled it 128 feet down the road further? Why?
How are they gonna turn around? Who's gonna plow the street?
The town.
It'd have to be the town. Don't tell me
It
somebody
would
else.
have to, the only way it could happen is if that was turned over, that to the town road turned over to the
There's
town.
no cul-de-sac, number one, okay? Town ordinance, cul-de-sac, oh gee. You know, there's so many me, myself, and I's with regards to this. I'm sorry. My opinion again, okay? Thank you for your service. I know we're not gonna see you again.
Thank you.
Yes, we will? Oh, you can come to my house and have a beer if you want. But what else can I tell you? You know, I do things right. If I can't do it right, I can't do it. My dad told me that a long time ago, and that's where I stand.
yeah. Thank you. Mr. Inez, are you familiar with this plan? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I think it stinks.
I'm looking at the proposed extension of an approved road for, it's listed here as 128 feet, .53. Let's, for giggles, let's call it 128. Because it abuts your property. If they push the snow, does it not go into the melting? I don't know, see, I don't have the topos. I don't know if it's going to go into Mr. London's property, or where's that snow? Is it going to butt right up to his property?
Presently. if they put the snow on Mr. Perry's side of that road, okay, it would drop down about yay much onto Mr. Perry's. He's got his septic system over there. That'd be real cute if you put it on there. On the other side, yours truly owns all the property. I mean, all the property. From the top of that hill on Carlton Avenue, all the way down to where they propose to put a house, okay? Where are you gonna put on my property? I'm getting enough property, I'm getting enough water now. If you took a ride by there right now, you'd see where it's washed out. And that's, I'm getting water. Has anybody been down there, by the way? Have you? And nobody stopped by and said hello? I don't know.
I didn't see a light on.
I'm always in the back of the house, that's where the den is. That's what I tell everybody. It flies in the face of every town ordinance. You're opening Pandora's box. I don't know what else I can say about it.
No, we thank you for.
Thank you. Thank you for your service, because I wouldn't be sitting up there. Unless they let me have a baseball bat, I would be satisfied. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks.
Just before I do, I just want to make sure that everybody gets a first chance. I will let you speak
I just
again.
want to answer a question, that's all.
I understand. Does anybody else want to come up that hasn't been up yet? Mr. McGee?
Tom McGee, 125 Left Play Road. I'm in Nevada, and I'm for commercial property.